Last month, a federal judge in Nevada dismissed a lawsuit by the Trump campaign challenging the state's decision to mail ballots to all voters amid the pandemic.
Joining us now to talk about this pivotal election, this pivotal battleground state, Nevada Attorney General Aaron Ford. Sir, thank you so much for being here. The law was challenged there. That lawsuit has now been dismissed, so you are moving forward, but so much of this has to do with the secure election, possible voter fraud. Are you seeing any indications of voter fraud in your state thus far, and have you even gone as far as to try to prosecute any cases of such voter fraud?
We did receive a lawsuit. The president filed a lawsuit to try to stop our Secretary of State, who happens to be a Republican, from instituting a program that will mail all active registered voters a ballot so that they could exercise a constitutional franchise to vote without having to subject themselves to COVID. He filed a lawsuit. I immediately moved to dismiss it, and we prevailed on that. And from her own words, the Secretary of State's own words, we don't have a prevalent issue of voter fraud in this state. And to the contrary, we have a very few instances of those. And to your question, absolutely, I have actually prosecuted, I am prosecuting one individual who tried to vote twice in a previous election. And that's well before this was in the headlines. And so my office is going to be vigilant when it comes to enforcing the right to vote and prosecuting those who violate the rules associated with it.
Attorney General, you expressed concern after last week's debate about potential voter intimidation when the president said this. Let's take a listen.
I'm urging my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully, because that's what has to happen. I am urging them to do it. As you know, today there was a big problem. In Philadelphia, they went in to watch. They were called poll watchers, a very safe, very nice thing. They were thrown out. They weren't allowed to watch.
How do you interpret, Attorney General, what the president said there in the debate, and how will you protect voters if they are feeling intimidated there in your state when they go to vote?
Yeah. Well, the message itself is innocent enough, and it wouldn't have raised my area. It wouldn't have raised an area of concern for me if it weren't for the messenger and the context of the message. We know that this is an individual, speaking of the messenger, who has shown a willingness to encourage illegality by telling folks to vote twice. Again, I'll prosecute for that. We know that he's already said he's going to refuse to commit to a peaceful transition of power should he lose. He's also told his supporters to stay calm, to not stay calm, or is refusing to tell them to stay calm during the tallying of the votes. And he's even told certain folks to stand back and stand by. So I saw right through what he was doing, heard the dog whistle loud and clear, and I called it out. It's not an advocacy for poll watching, which is legitimate in our state. It's an advocacy for voter intimidation, and I won't stand for it.
Okay, we talk about what could possibly happen on Election Day, but there's so much worry about what could happen after the election. Are you getting prepared for a potential legal nightmare there in your state of Nevada, which is a battleground state, which is in play, which has gone back and forth, Republican, Democrat, over the past several presidential cycles? Are you getting ready for that? And how so? Are you having to ramp up your legal team, even in anticipation of what could happen?
Well, first off, let me say I have the utmost confidence in the integrity of our elections and those officials who are putting on our elections, from our Republican Secretary of State to the predominantly Republican county administrators who are instituting this election. That said, I stay ready, so I don't have to get ready. My office is absolutely ready for whatever this Trump administration will bring forward in the aftermath of a loss in this election. We're not scared of Mr. Trump. We're not intimidated by him, and we will do all that we can again to exercise this franchise and to protect the exercise of this franchise.
There is another issue that is near and dear to your heart. You have joined other attorneys general in the fight for the Affordable Care Act. In fact, we know that this is a case that is going before the Supreme Court 1 week after Election Day, the case Texas versus California. Why was this important for you to join in the defense of this act?
Well, we have millions of people in our state that have pre-existing conditions, especially in a time of COVID. It makes no sense to be attacking the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. We have 300,000 folks who are benefiting from Medicaid expansion in our state. And to, again, have an administration that refuses to defend the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, and instead attempts to attack it and undermine it, and even lies and says that it's supporting pre-existing conditions, when in fact it's in court trying to remove the protection for pre-existing conditions and insurance coverage. It just makes no sense to me, and we're going to, again, fight to protect our residents in this state, along with the other Democratic attorneys general who are doing the same for theirs.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time. You are a busy man. Nevada Attorney General Aaron Ford, thank you so much for being with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And for our viewers here, you can check out a useful voting guidance from our partners at 538. You can go to 538.com and check that out.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.